All right, good morning. It's just me today, coming at you from the desk. We're having some technical issues with Cameron's side of the machine, so hopefully we'll get those sorted out this week and be back to regular shows. There were several things that I wanted to talk about on the show today, but it's stuff that I really wanted to have the dialogue with Cameron about. And there's a little project that I've been wanting to get into. May be tricky to even really dig into this one. But here goes. I wanna run a little experiment. We're gonna start a book club. Let's call it the Bookfire Mind Club. This is Bookfire Mind episode 1, and we'll be discussing The Art of War. Now, I'm showing you the spine of this book because this is my very old copy of The Art of War that I carried through basic combat training and Afghanistan with me. And so it's a little worn out. This is a tired old copy of this book. I've read it quite a bit. Those of you who know me know that I'm what our good bald buddy Rod Purvis calls a book-reading fool. Not nearly on his level, I loathe to confess, but there's a reason I want to talk about books. And it's up here on the screen. This is an older story. I've got 2 older stories that we're going to take a quick peek at, and then I'm going to talk about this book a little bit. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe this show. All right, so the thing that's going to make the book club successful is getting more and more people involved in the book club. But there's a reason I want to do a book club. There's a very important reason I want to do a book club. Make no mistake, I will be monetizing the sale of these books through Amazon. There's a link in the description to buy yourself a copy of The Art of War. Any given book that we get, I will do my best to either make sure that the copy you're buying is the best copy or the cheapest copy. It will never be the most expensive copy unless that is quantifiably the best copy. And when I say the best copy, like I said, this book has traveled the world with me. You'll notice it. This is a hardback book. This is not a paperback. This is a good, sturdy piece of the literature. I have other copies of this same book. I have a pocket-sized copy. I have a couple of paperback versions. But I want you to look where possible to get the hardback, the durable copy. Because I don't just want you to buy the book and make me a little money. I'm not just looking for you to read good books and get smarter. There's something more important to consider here. Take this story, for example. Principal responds after photos of school library books in dumpster cause social media stir. I want you to take a good look at this picture, right? This is a dumpster, right? And this is important that you notice this before we read further in, because the picture's going to scroll out of the way as I read the story to you. You'll see here, you can see my mouse moving over here. You'll see there's bits of trash stuck to the sides of this dumpster. There's cardboard boxes and miscellaneous paper and just trash in this dumpster, right? Trash. Now, it's a blue dumpster. Maybe it says recycling bin. But this is not a clean container. This is a trash can. This is a container for refuse, for things that are being discarded with the purpose of being destroyed. That's an important note to take as we move forward. The principal of a middle school in White Bear Lake, Minnesota is responding after photos showing stacks of books in a school dumpster spread on social media. The photos of the books struck a nerve with community members. After seeing one social media post, Ryan Swanson told Fox News he drove out to the school to see for himself. "I was so mad I just left," he said. He says the discarded books appear to be non-fiction and included topics such as Native American history, the Constitution, and World War II. Swanson says he salvaged about 30 books and saw others filling up bins to donate the items. I This is in Minnesota. I can't very well go there. I could not, even if I was leaving the day I saw this article. But I would have loved to have just been able to take my pickup truck and fill the back of it entirely, and do what is right with these books. The extent to which the book is precious cannot be underestimated. It really cannot. Sunrise Park Middle School principal Christian Pierre sent a message to parents Friday morning explaining their media specialist had put outdated library books in the recycle bin after weeding through the collection. Okay. Outdated. That's an interesting claim to make. The weeding procedure is important to help us find a new home for books 10 years and older to ensure that materials are keeping up to date with the needs of ever-changing curriculum, school goals, and student needs, wrote Pierre. Okay. I'm going to grab a couple of books off my shelf back here to show you something. I keep these books quite intentionally because of the timing question. Because of the nature, Jesus Christ, because of the nature of ever-evolving information. Because it's important that we not be distracted and allow the notion that information changes over time to be conflated with the idea that that information improves over time. So, I'm going to set this one aside for a moment. Yeah. I have a bit of tennis elbow, and picking up that heavy-ass book is not working well on my left arm. Here we have a copy of Funkin' Wagnall, New International Compendium, the Comprehensive International Dictionary of the English Language. This is the Funkin' Wagnall from... There was a damn bug on my book. From 1975 or so. And I mean, we're talking about this. This is a hell of a dictionary. I want to take a quick peek at the word racism. Let's see what Google has to say on racism. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. See, this, it is in fact a racist claim to include this language, one that is minority or marginalized, in the definition of racism. That's an important distinction because, of course, the suggestion that is being made by the academician is that only white people are prejudiced, are racist, because only white people have power sufficient to act upon racism. Now, if you want to make the claim that only white people have power sufficient to act on racism, a claim which I might add is counterindicated by, the Black Lives Matter movement existing, and the fact that there is literally a specialized scholarship or grant program for every person of a description that does not include simultaneously the words white and male. I dare you, go find me one. You will find a scholarship for every group identity that is not a white straight male. And and when you find one that is for a homosexual, which can be extended to a white male, it is to the exclusion of heterosexuals, not to the exclusion of non-white, non-males. Guaranteed 100%. I dare you. So, the word racist, as it appears in the Funkin' Wagnall, is... Now, damn it, the tab said R. Did I not push far enough into the R? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching me look words up in a nearly 50-year-old dictionary. But there's a point here. Language, and as many of you know, I am a linguist by trade, or was at some point. I gave it up. The field is overrun with amateurs. Race. Race about, racism, racemism, the quality or condition of being, racism, of being racemic, pertaining to or contained in racemes or in grapes, not to be confused with the common rapeseed oil of Middle Eastern cuisine. Racism, an excessive and irrational belief in or advocacy of the superiority of a given group, people, or nation on racial grounds alone. Racial hatred. But it says nothing about the targeting of minority or marginalized groups. Now that's a 50-year-old dictionary on the subject. This, however, this dictionary is well over 100 years old. And it's going to say, let's just see what this one has to say. Because our language does not change over time exclusively organically through usage. Largely, our language changes over time through abuse. And that abuse is an abuse by malicious actors. We'll get back to the art of war in a moment. What we're doing now is the art of war. This is the art of studying and understanding your enemy. Being prepared to offer proper and effective counteroffensives to his damaging attacks. Rabbit, race plate. Racial, pertaining to a race or family of men. Racial, racing, rack. So, 100 years ago, there is not even an entry in the Webster's New International Dictionary. Not even an entry on the concept of racism. That is not to say that there's no such thing as racism. But similarly, you will find that in the 100-year-old dictionary, there is not a reference to the word fascism. 100 years ago, Mussolini had not yet... And no, in fairness, we're creeping up on it. We got about 30 years to go now. But 100 years ago, we had not yet had a Mussolini to envision a bundle of sticks as a representation for a totalitarian government control state. which sought to marry the forces of government with the forces of industry in an attempt to control the people. "50 years ago, the word referred to a specific ideology. Today, it just means white man." The Art of War is the first book on our reading list because we are in a war. We're fighting a war with an enemy whose principal weapons include censorship and Molotov cocktails. Okay, we are fighting an enemy that will say that your speech is violence. They will shut down your speech. They will burn your cities. And then they will blame you for the crime of their destruction. As we see this moving forward, we're going to see actual book burnings. I want you to start buying these books. I'm going to give you a list, and we're going to discuss the books. For now, I'll try to do one of these a week, and I will simply, we'll talk about the book, we'll summarize it. I'll give you some particular study points, and my reasons to adding it to your collection. If this little book club idea gets a little traction, then we can expand that and go a little further with it, and we can read the books together, see how that works out. So I definitely want some feedback. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you think about. Let me know if you've read The Art of War. Let me know if my concerns. If you think that my concerns are ill-founded on the coming tide of censorship and book burning. But I don't just want you to read these books because they're important books. I want as many people as possible to purchase hard, physical copies of these books and retain them in safety so that we can prevent their destruction and elimination. So, if you've... One of the books that's going to be on this list, please believe, is Fahrenheit 451. And there's also a film called Equilibrium, which, if you haven't seen, you should see. And I can drop a link for both of those in the description on this video as well. Equilibrium is one part 1984, one part Fahrenheit 451, one part A Brave New World, Aldous Huxley, mostly from the Soma, which is the drug that they take to have their little 10-minute vacations. And 2 parts The Matrix. It's an excellent film, but in Fahrenheit 451 and in Equilibrium both, what you have, there are the Firemen who come around and destroy literature and art. And in Fahrenheit 451, it's more about controlling the minds of people and the things that they know and believe. In Equilibrium, it's more about controlling people's emotions, eliminating anything that will make people have emotions, that make them feel anything. Because if you can suppress all human emotion, then the theory in that film is that they can suppress all crime and war by preventing people from ever feeling pain or anger. It doesn't go well for them. I'm starting with The Art of War, one, because I've got a copy of it handy. And it's a very special copy, like I said, that's traveled with me quite a bit. I want you to pick up this book. Even if you don't read it, which, by the way, you absolutely should. Just like in Fahrenheit 451 and Equilibrium, we are beginning the process of building those important caches of cultural illicit paraphernalia. It will be the case before long, if things continue apace, that literature of this caliber and of this quality and of this magnitude and importance, this will be a prohibited item. This will be a thing which the enemy, which is to say the state, by the time this is all in occurrence, will seek out to destroy. The more caches of this valuable, vital information and literature and art that we can build over time to protect from these monsters, the better. Sharing this video and making this idea salient in the minds, this is the Brushfire Mind mission right now. Okay? It has always been the mission of the Brushfire Mind to spread great ideas, especially controversial ideas, like a wildfire in the minds of men. But this idea, that everyone needs to stockpile important literature and art to protect it from the coming storm, this idea needs more to go viral than any other. It is not just our culture. It is not just our heritage. And don't let it be lost on you. This white boy that's sitting here talking about our culture and our heritage is holding up a book by a Chinese man. This is not about the blood and soil. This is not about the white culture, Western culture. No. I am talking about the accumulated, vital knowledge and wisdom of mankind. Nothing short of its complete and total destruction is the objective of the modern radical left. Nothing short. They want you sick and weak and stupid and enslaved. Know your enemy. Know yourself. Monse. 10,000 victories. Know your enemy, know yourself, and you will win in every battle. This and so in the military, knowing the other and knowing oneself, in 100 battles no danger. Not knowing the other and knowing oneself, one victory for one loss. Not knowing the other and not knowing oneself, in every battle, certain defeat. Subduing the enemy without battle, is the height of skill. Okay. Steve Rodemeyer says he might have my old copy at his house. Well, this is one of my old copies, Steve. This is a book that I've bought. Cameron and Steve both know me to have this habit. I will lend books to people, and it's not that I don't expect them back. It's not that I don't want them back. It's not that I mean for them not to come back. I lend them out and I hope that they go where they belong. Even if that's coming back to me. And then I buy them again when I want to read them again. The Art of War, like Stranger to Strangeland, Snow Crash, and several others, is one of those books that I have bought. I've probably bought and lent a dozen copies of this book. Incidentally, same thing with the television series Firefly. I think I've bought 10 copies of that series and lent them out. I know I gave 5 away in Afghanistan. But, yeah. So I've talked about the importance of the book in this episode. I think we will discuss the book itself more in a future episode, hopefully later this week. We'll just have to see how things go with the technology on Cameron's end. Get him back up and working. Seriously. Click on the link in the description, buy you a copy of The Art of War, and read it. I really mean this. I want you to read the book. But even if you don't, at a minimum, do this for the human race. Share this video, like this video, leave a comment in the description because it helps to feed the algorithm and make the Brushfire spread further. Buy a copy of the book, and even if you don't read it, buy the book. Okay? Hey, I've got a retirement plan that's already paying me. I'm okay. Okay, the revenue from book sales will help the channel, help develop the show more, but more importantly, I want you to buy the book so that you, each and every one of you, can become a cash holder. That's C-H-A-C-H-E. C-A-C-H-E. Can become a holder of one of the secret caches of human knowledge and wisdom. Buy these books. Keep these books. Hide these books. Keep them secret. Keep them safe. Because the enemy will come for them. And when they do, there need to be enough of these caches that we don't lose humanity to the fire. If you doubt me on this for a moment, take a look at the riots. Take a look at the statues. Right, in protest of historic slavery, they tore down a statue of Frederick Douglass. It has nothing to do with racism, has nothing to do with slavery, has nothing to do with justice. The censorship, the fires, the destruction, the obvious advances toward communist year zero. It has only to do with murdering your world. This is Christopher Lowry for the Brushfire Mind. Y'all be safe out there. Like, share, and subscribe. Buy the book. Keep it safe. And we'll talk about more books soon. We'll be talking about all the important ones, the 1984s, the Brave New World, Animal Farm, and we'll be talking about some that you have heard less of. Rifkin's Hydrogen Economy, the Monster from Jekyll Island, The Anatomy of Power, The Celestine Prophecy. I will not be discussing books on this channel that do not have real significance. Okay, there are a lot of books. The Wind in the Willows. I want that book safe. I want it safe. It's a sacred text. It is. But it is not as tactically useful as the rest, as the other books we'll discuss. Now, it is vitally important. I do think that we can take from The Wind in the Willows. There are some vitally important facts or lessons to be learned there. Most notably, the right to keep and bear arms for the purposes of defending your home from the ravening hordes of weasels cannot be underestimated. Neither can the pure Zen wisdom of the statement, there is nothing else in life quite so worthwhile as simply messing about in boats. Okay. Y'all be safe out there. It's time to go to work.